Hello everybody and welcome to Mother Cow Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how I make my socks. I start by choosing my yarn, and I've chosen this Libris Socky yarn in colorway New England. This yarn is 75% wool, and it calls for a 5mm hook, and so I use a 5mm hook. Just finding the end here. There. And I start by doing a slip knot. I can't tell you how I'm doing it because I don't know myself. And I start doing 2 chains. And then I do 6 single crochets in the first chain, the one that's furthest from the hook. And I do 6 single crochets. Here I got my 6 single crochets, and for the next round I'm just going in rounds, not finishing the rows, but going in a spiral. So the next round I'm doing 2 single crochets in each stitch, so that makes 12 single crochets for round 2. And if you're finding it difficult to see what I'm doing, this is how I crochet. I crochet seeing with my fingertips, since I'm legally blind, almost at the non-vision level, so that's why I feel my stitches, and my fingers are in the way I can see, but this isn't an accurate tutorial, but just how I make my socks, so you got a recipe for doing your own socks. Now I got 12 stitches around, and I'm doing 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then I'm doing 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So I'm doing that all the way around. 1 single crochet, 2 in next, 1 single crochet and 2 in next. So I'm increasing with 6 stitches this round too, in every other stitch. So that makes 18 when I'm finished. And if you're doing a smaller sock, perhaps baby toddler sock, you might stop at 6, 12, 18, 24, at 24. I think that could be a toddler sock. And if you want to make it bigger, you just keep on doing the increases. So now I got my 18 stitches around, and now I do 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches, and in the third stitch I do 2 single crochets. Sorry, I said double crochets, didn't I? 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the third, and so on. So 2 single crochets in the 2 first, and then 2 single crochets in the third stitch. So all the way around makes 24 stitches. So this is just making, doing an ordinary circle with increases, 6 increases every row. So you can do it how big you want or how small you want. So now I got my 24 stitches and going for the next round. So now I'm doing single crochet, single crochet, single crochet in this 3 upcoming stitches, and then in the 4th stitch you do 2 single crochets. So the increase is in the 4th stitch. So in the 4th, in the 8th, and in the 12th, and so on and so on. 6 times around, and that makes 30 stitches. Sometimes I do both my socks at the same time, because it's quite nice to have both socks finished at the same time. And then you can do 1 or 2 rows perhaps, and then you do 1 or 2 rows on the other one. So you do exactly the same all the way, and then they get finished at the same time. Very nice. So you won't have to wait another day or a week to get your second socks. You can use them at once. So here I got my 30 stitches, and for this size I'm doing now, I'm doing 1 more increase row. So now I'm doing 4 single crochets, and then in the 5th stitch I'm doing 2 single crochets. So in every 5th stitch around it's an increase, and then you do 2 single crochets, and that's giving you 36 stitches when you're finished with this row. Really liking this yarn and the colors of this yarn. So this one I ordered 2 more balls of for my birthday gift. So I can do something else than socks too. I think this size I going to use just over 1 skein, and this skein is 100 gram skein. So have to buy 2 balls or 2 skeins of this particular yarn, at least, for doing 2 socks. And then you got a whole lot of yarn over, so you can do perhaps smaller socks too. Here I got my 36 stitches and I'm finished with my increases. And this is the toe. I'm putting my stitch marker and then I'm just continuing building up the foot and just going around and round and round. And now I'm finished with the foot. I did 20 rows in this size. So this is 20 rows and my foot is finished. Now I'm starting with the heel. So I just start where my row was finished. And now since I've got 36 and divided by 2, that's 18, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I start with 6 single crochets. So 6 single crochets, and when you done this 6 single crochets, and then you take your sock and you turn the row. And I actually this time I did 1 chain to get up the level, and then I do the 6 stitches plus 1, so 7 on the way back. So 7 single crochets. And when I did my 7 stitches, I chain 1 and then I turn again. Here's my 7 and I turn. And now I'm doing 7 plus 1, so that makes 8 single crochets. And when you get to the stitch number 7, and when you're going to do the last number 8, you have to look and see so you get it on the row that's the last row on the foot. So very important to check where you got your first row on the heel, and then you take the next to the left. So that makes 8. Do a chain and then you turn again. And you can do a little tighter stitch so you won't make these big holes. I tighten it up a little bit. Now you're starting to see the heel form. When you change, last row you did 8, now you're doing 9. So now you're doing 8 plus 1. Very important to check so that the 9th stitch is from the last row from the foot, so you can do the shaping of the heel correctly. Then you chain up 1 and then you turn again. So every row is 1 more stitch than the last. So it was 9 the row before, and so it's 10 this time. So it's 9, and then the last stitch is from the last row of the foot. Can be a little bit tricky to find the right one, but take your time and then you'll find the right stitch, and then you'll make a perfect heel. Can you see this heel is growing? So every row you do one more stitch, and you do this all up until you got 18 stitches on the heel, and then you got a nice heel formed. And on the last, when you did your 18th stitch, I just continue the round out, and that's the start of the round is just before the heel. Can be a little bit tricky to go the first round over the heel to find the actual stitches. But if you just take your time, it's not that hard. And make sure that you've got 36 stitches in the round when you're crocheting up the leg. It's starting to look like a sock. If you could call them a slipper sock too. But if you're using 5 or a smaller hook, it's very socky. It isn't that slippery. It's not like a slipper, I think. And you can easily wear it in your boots or shoes. I've done it. My girls done it, and they love the socks. If you don't want to wear them directly on your foot, you can do a little bit larger size, and then you can have your ordinary socks first, and then these woolly socks over if you're getting an itch. And then you're getting a warm, cozy foot anyway. So here you got the start of the sock. I'm just moving my stitch marker to right before the heel where my row starts now. And after that, I'm just going around and around and around again. And I'm doing this for 20 more rows for this. And it's very optional. And here I've got my sock, isn't it? It's looking like a sock. I've done 20 rows on the leg, and then I'm starting my my what's it called, cuff ribbing, and I do the first row with a double crochet in every stitch. So I chain up 3 for the first stitch, and then 35 double crochets. And this is, as I said, very optional. If you want a shorter leg, you just do 10 or 15 rows, and if you want a longer row, you just keep on doing rows. If you want to do very long rows, you might consider doing some increases, because your leg gets broader. I don't know what it's called in English, but it's yeah, you got broader legs up towards the knee, so make some extra chains, some increases. Haven't done that before, but my 10-year-old wanted knee socks, so I have to try that one too. And when I've done my 36 double crochets, I end the row with a slip stitch to the first chain 3, and I do a slip stitch in the third stitch. And my second row is when I start doing my front post, back post. So I'm doing 1 by 1. Haven't tried anything else, so 1 by 1, and then I do 1 front post, and then I do 1 back post and 1 front post, and so on. And I end the row with a slip stitch to the first one, and then I just chain up 3 again and start over, doing the same stitch as the row before. So if I started with a front post, I'm doing a front post in the first again, so it gets nice ribbing. I like doing ribbings, crocheted ribbings. I think they're very nice, quite soft, gets quite soft fabric, or what you should call it. I like to do that in hats and on the end of the arms and so on sweaters too. I like that one. I think it's quite fun too. You just have to have some quiet around you when you do the first row. So you do the right counting and the right order. I think I have to try to do 2 by 1 or 2 by 2 sometimes too. Want to see how it looks. But 1 by 1 is perfect for the socks, I think. This is also optional. If you want to do more rows than me, I think that 5 rows is just perfect. Not too big, not too small, and I like it. Easy to remember too. So here's the sock. And one more, did two. Have to have two socks. So here they are, finished with the ribbing on top. Like them very much. So hope you had fun trying this. Please comment if you think if you're trying to do them, and hope you have fun doing them too. These are some of my socks that I did during the last 2 weeks, I think. Lovely colors and lovely socks. Hope you had a good time, and like, subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye. Just wanted to sorry. Just wanted to tell you, if you want to change the sizes when you do the toe, the circle, and when you fold it and you put it on the wrong side, so you got the fold against your leg, put it over your toes or the person who's getting the socks, and if it matches and goes just, it can be just inside of the toes, it's all right because it's a little stretchy. But if it's too much on outside of the toes, you have to take away one increase row. And if it's too small, you just do one increased row more, and fold it and lay it on top of the toes, and you can see if it matches. And then after that, you do the foot, and the foot's or the sock's length is when your foot becomes leg. It's just going to start moving upwards the legs just a tiny bit, and then you're ready for the heel. So, and then you just, the leg you can do in whatever length you want or you need. So that's how I make my socks. I got inspired by she's called Jayda. She's doing slippers, so that's my inspiration. And if you're doing the different sizes on the toe, then you could perhaps you could if you always do it in 6, then you can always divide it by 2. So if you got a toddler foot, you start with perhaps 24 stitches around. You divide it by 2, that's 12. And then you divide that number by 3, and you've got 4. It's late now. And then you start your heel with a 4. If you're up to my size, I'm a 38, give or take. I'm doing 36 stitches for my foot, and then you got 36 divided by 2, and that's 18, and then you divide that number by 3 for the heel, and then you got 6, 12, 18, and then you start your heel with 6. So that's how I make my math for my socks. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's any questions, you just leave them in a comment below, and hope to see you next time. Bye!